The stock market took off this morning. This was a great day if you are an investor. The highly contested election was good news for your portfolio. And since more black people are becoming not just more intelligent about their votes, we're also becoming intelligent about our economics. Today was a good day. Black people won the election, no matter who ends up being president of the United States. I'll break all that down for you on the Dr. Boyce breakdown in just 1 second. All right, guys, what's going on? Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to the Dr. Boyce Breakdown. I'm going to tell you guys what happened, not just last night, but also what's going on today in the markets and everything else. Put your hashtag B1 in the chat. I don't care who you voted for. Last night we had an amazing election panel, and we wanted to get some intelligent black people together, not the people you see on mainstream media, but the people that should be on TV. And so we had a great panel last night. We had scholars and thinkers and activists and Democrats, Republicans, independents, non-voters, male, female, old, young, a whole mix of black people. And it was really, really fun. We did 7 hours, 7 hours of election coverage. I have never done that before. I didn't even plan to do any election coverage. I said, well, I don't want to do it. I mean, that's CNN's job. But then I realized CNN is not doing their job. So instead of waiting for them to do their job, we did our job last night. We brought some black people to you that you're not going to see on TV. And these were smart people who had amazing opinions. And most important, they were black first. And so, one of the things I think is important for us to remember is that the black agenda needs to come from us. We need to shape that agenda. So I think what I'm going to do, Dual Victory, actually one of the moderators, suggested this morning after the panel and seeing just literally 100,000 of you watch the panels last night, 100,000 people on all the platforms combined. She said, we ought to do something like this every month, a town hall. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to lend my platform to the world, to the community, and so anybody who's an expert or who has anything that you'd like to add, just hit me up on Facebook or something, and or you can email producer@flynubianmedia.com. That's producer@flynubianmedia.com, and Taryn will get you booked, and we can get you into the town hall. So that's what it was. That's what happened. And it is what it is. Okay, so Sirius Box says BET had no black people covering elections on TV. Huh, interesting. Like, yeah, well, BET, well, that's not a black owned media outlet. I mean, I think that's important to just kind of know that right there. They sell black people, but the question is, do they serve black people? And when I say sell black people, I'm not talking about slavery. I'm talking about corporate sponsors. Corporate, you go to a corporation and you say, "Hi, I've got 10 million black people. I'd like to sell them to you. Give me money, and I will sell these people to you by exposing your product to these people." And you have a lot of people out here that are selling black people, but nobody's really serving black people. And so our goal is to serve black people, and that's what we do. We don't have corporate sponsors. We don't do that stuff. Even though I'm sure I could get some bank that would pay me money to go and tell you to go do banking at their company. I'm not going to do that crap. So anyway, all right. So here we go. Let me jump into this. Hit the thumbs up button if you could. Please hit the thumbs up, share, and subscribe button. And also, you can see on the ticker right there, you can text Boyce to get notifications. Text Boyce to 31996, and you get text notifications when I go live, things like that. Okay, all right. So Leslie and Alonzo and Mr. Thompson, let's talk about the stock market. So the stock market blasted off today. Nobody really knew exactly what was going to happen. A lot of experts were kind of all over the board. They talked about the long term implications of a Biden presidency, which means you were going to win if you're an investor. They talked about the long term implications of a Trump presidency, which means you were going to win if you're an investor. They talked about the implications of a blue wave, in which you were going to win because you're an investor. They did not talk about a red wave. I didn't hear anybody talk about a red wave because I don't think anybody thought a red wave was going to happen. Well, one of the things that we know right now is that a blue wave is probably not going to occur. In fact, I think it might be a statistical impossibility at this point. Now, whether or not Biden or Trump becomes the president, that's still up in the air. There's still some big battleground states states that have to be decided. They're not done counting. I believe what is it, Michigan? I saw Michigan, Pennsylvania. I think North Carolina also, and even Georgia. I saw some publications mention Georgia, even though it looked like Trump was going to win Georgia. But either way, though, this election was interesting because even though a lot of experts thought the market might plummet due to a contested election and all the uncertainty, right? Because we know that Donald Trump he's the guy that likes to fight. And if he doesn't get what he wants, he throws temper tantrums. We've seen that in public. We've seen that on Twitter. And if he doesn't get the White House, they're going to be all up in court. He's going to push it to the Supreme Court. He's going to get people out in the street. The Proud Boys will be, out waving their flags or whatever, and then Antifa will be protesting, and Antifa and the Proud Boys will be beating each other up. I personally don't believe that's black people's fight. Personally, for me as a black man, I'm just going to sit in my house and take care of my family and figure out a way to build wealth for my community. But that's what you're looking at, right? So here are the factors, right? You had one competing factor that says, oh my God, contested election. That's uncertainty. The stock market does not like uncertainty. Uncertainty reduces the value of your stock because every equation in the history of mankind that's been used to value a stock pretty much says if you're not sure what's going to happen, the value of the asset goes down, right? It's the same as if somebody was selling you a car and you were like, how much, and they were like, well, how much do you want to pay for this car? And somebody says, oh, this is a great car. It's definitely going to run. It's going to give you at least 3,000 miles guaranteed. Well, you will pay one price. But then if somebody says, the car is probably going to run, it might run, there's a 25% chance it's going to break down the minute you drive it off the lot. And, it might give you 50,000 miles. It might give you 100,000. You never know, right? Well, you're going to pay less for that car, right? Because of uncertainty. Uncertainty reduces the value of an asset. So right now we're dealing with uncertainty. So that is a net negative. Here's the positive. Here's the thing that's actually causing the market to go up today. And this is why your portfolio probably made money. Well, one of the things that was going to also kill the market was a blue wave, at least initially. A blue wave would have hurt the market, at least in the beginning, not long term, not for long term investors. Long term, remember, even under Obama, you were making money if you're a long term investor. But initially, it would have caused a deflation in stock prices, primarily because that a blue wave definitely means higher taxes. Why is that? Well, because Joe Biden, one thing he's definitely right about is that rich people don't pay enough. They should be paying more because the government is in really, really bad shape economically. We're going in further and further debt. And that's one of the reasons why I really wasn't in favor of a full shutdown. I felt like you could do a partial shutdown, take care of your senior citizens, take care of your vulnerable people, but you don't have to shut everything down. I got 10-year-old in the house and 17-year-old who wants to go out and meet girls and live his life and get ready for college, and he's got to shut down too. And I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense, right? Especially when you look at all the people that are getting evicted, losing their houses, depressed, suicidal, on drugs, and going through all kinds of hell because they can't take care of their economic situation. So anyway, so what the implication is that the blue wave is not going to happen, and the missing blue wave means that any uncertainty that was attributed to that possibility is now gone. So in that regard, you're going from uncertainty to certainty. Before, the market was pricing in the potential for a blue wave. Before, the market was really pricing in a Biden presidency. The election, I think, surprised a lot of people. I don't think that people thought that Trump was going to go win Florida and Ohio and then be battling it out for Michigan and Pennsylvania. I got this sense that most of the mainstream media polls, from what I read in my research, most of them thought, it was a sure thing for Biden. And that was what the market was sort of assuming when it picked stock prices. Well, the last time was a surprise. When they settled it on the field, it looks like Trump came through stronger than they thought. So what that means is that the next morning, which is today, you're going to see a big jump in stock values. And also you're going to see, because of the uncertainty, of what they call a flight to quality, meaning that tech stocks, the FANG stocks, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google, I believe every single one of them popped this morning, not just because they're well-run companies, but because these are companies that are doing a Pablo Escobar right now in terms of making a boatload of money, COVID or no COVID, these suckers know how to get paid. They know how to get their money. Also, and the lack of a blue wave means that all these tech executives from Twitter and everything else that they have testifying before Congress for antitrust violations, for which they are almost all guilty. I mean, almost all of them could be hit with antitrust violations. I mean, it's just they are the robber barons of this era. The robber baron era was when you had J.P. Morgan and Andrew Carnegie and Rockefeller running banking and steel and oil, and they had unchecked power. They controlled the entire industry. They were eating up their competitors. They were charging whatever price they wanted, right? So now the new robber barons live in the digital age. Not only are they hoarding just all the money and all the power and controlling all the media, they're also censoring people, right? Which is causing a lot of people to be very upset. So I think at some point they're going to be challenged on that, but it's not going to happen right now. And also, whether Trump or Biden's in office, let's just be clear. Trump is kind of a radical president, and he's supposed to be a Republican, and he screams and hollers a lot. He has a lot of bark, not a lot of bite. Biden is not a liberal. Biden is he's a corporate guy. He's a corporate guy. I mean, he's a guy that he's gonna make. Sure, he'll make you think that he's gonna be down with Black Lives Matter and all the radical left stuff. But even people on the left that do their research, they know he's not too radical on the left, right? Biden, and in fact, Biden, I mentioned this yesterday. He was the guy that actually passed the law that says you can't write your student loans off on your when you go bankrupt. Now, why would he do that? Like, what's the incentive of a politician to support a law like that, right? Well, there is no incentive. The incentive was, a bunch of bankers and corporations gave him money and said, we'll give you millions of dollars to run ads to get people to vote for you. And when you get in office, you need to pass this law that's going to protect our money. So, as I mentioned to you, when I talked about the economics of the election yesterday, basically the election cycle that I see is one where wealthy corporations and billionaires raise billions of dollars. And this election was $14 billion for all the races combined. They raised billions of dollars to put people into office. And these people that receive the billions of dollars, they use much of this money for marketing to convince voters to support them. And they'll pick some issue like, I don't know, like school choice or something that they really don't care about. They're just gonna, pick that issue because they know you care about it, and that's what they have to do to get in your pants, right? So they get you to vote, and then you vote the person in, and then they go into the back room and they have a conversation with the people who financed the whole process, and they say, okay, what laws do you need me to pass, right? And so it's really a fundamentally problematic system. We all know this, but I think maybe breaking down for you exactly how it works will help you understand how you can position yourself in all this, right? So when you're talking about things like a black agenda and you're talking about black people getting ahead or getting something from politicians, I think the most direct black agenda that I can initiate, like actually before I initiate my black agenda, I'd like to ask for your vote right now. I'd like for you to vote me temporarily. I don't need these powers permanently, but I'd like for at least the next 5 minutes to be president of this section of Black America. So do I have your vote? Give me a yes in the chat if I have your vote to be president of, or king. I'd rather be king. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I approve my message, and I'm running for king of Black America right now. So do I have your vote? Give me a yes in the chat if I have your vote. I only need the power for 5 minutes. So we're going to set term limits right now. Give me a yes or no in the chat. Thank you, Brittany. I appreciate it. Brittany's first. She gave me the first, Amber and Teresa and Emmanuel. Thank you very much. And dope and Dreadman, I appreciate you very much. All right. So with my newfound power, for 5 minutes, I'm going to implement the Black agenda. Okay, you ready? All right. So here is, and this isn't the whole Black agenda. This isn't the whole Black agenda. This is just a little piece of it because there's a whole lot here. You guys know I have a lot to say. The Black agenda I'd like to implement this morning that will solve a critical problem that Black people have, which is the wealth problem, right? The racial wealth gap, is for all Black people and all Black families to make a consistent effort every week to buy shares of stock for your family. Right now, I know that the agenda is not going to be unanimous. Right, there's some people who hate capitalism. They think that owning white companies is somehow contributing to white supremacy, things like that. Which personally, I don't know. I mean, that's like saying that when you owned Black people during slavery, you were contributing to Black supremacy. But I don't know of any slave owner who was actually contributing to Black supremacy by owning Black people or owning Black assets. But you can think what you want. I personally think that owning a piece of what white people have is a little more empowering, right? And it gives you a little less to complain about. You can't sit back and say, oh my God, they're getting all the money, they're making all the wealth, and we don't have anything, because you're making money too, right? Now, why did I throw this piece in for the Black agenda? Well, because number one, it's easy to implement. You can actually go and start buying stock right now today if you haven't started yet. There's a free training, firstsharestock.com, that we have. So it's totally free. Go to firstsharestock.com. I'll show you how to get started in 10 minutes. I know all the theories. I taught finance for 27 years on college campuses. So I know exactly what you need to know to get started. And I give you my promise that you'll be safe. Like there's 120 years of data to support the idea that if I just tell you to jump in there and be consistent and diversify, make sure you spread your money out. Don't put all your money in one or two stocks. Spread it out and do it consistently. If you do that, you're going to have more wealth than most Americans. So that's the first reason that this Black agenda, I think, will work. Number two, not only is it easy to implement, but also what you're doing is you're creating what they call positive correlation. Positive correlation means that you are now wired in, you are tethered to the success and wealth of white people, right? So when these corrupt corporations that pretty much own your democracy are getting rich, you're getting richer too, because, well, when you're a shareholder, you are an owner in that company. You are one of the bosses, right? I mean, that's what a shareholder is. A shareholder tells the CEO what to do. So you are one of the owners. You're not the only owner, but you are one of the owners, right? So that means that when they're corrupting your political system and they're buying your politicians to get them to go to Congress and Capitol Hill, whatever, and pass laws that make them richer, you might not like the law, right? Because some of these laws are crazy, right? They're horrible. But at least you're going to see the shares of your stock go up, right? So when they pass a new law that lets them do more fracking in Pennsylvania or whatever, if you own a piece of the companies that are making money from those projects, then you're not as mad as you might have been if you felt left out of the game, right? There's a difference between being excluded from the game and excluding yourself, right? There's a difference between being pushed out of the game and choosing not to participate because you want to be stubborn about it. So I'm just appealing to you. I believe in freedom, so I don't tell Black people what to do. But I am appealing to you to, if you haven't started investing for your family, you got to start doing it. And if you are investing already for your family, then do more of it, because that is a winning strategy. That is proven. That is a proven. If I could get every Black person in America to put the same amount of money into stock market investing that we put into fast food, Air Jordans, or Popeye's chicken, then the racial wealth gap would shrink dramatically within one generation. This is a policy we can implement right here. I can implement this policy right here from this podcast. And if everyone listened to me, if I had as much influence as Cardi B or something, I can literally solve the racial wealth gap issue right now in this conversation. Okay. So give me a yes or no if you heard what I said. Give me a yes or no if what I said makes sense. I'm not going to drag on and belabor this issue because I think my 5-minute term limit is about to come up. So I told you guys I need to be king of Black America for 5 minutes, or at least this corner of Black America, king of this district. I appreciate you giving me that power. I do not take that for granted. And I will never, ever go. I would never do things to violate your trust. So thank you for listening to me. I appreciate that. And I hope that this helps you out. So let's finish breaking this down. Okay. So when you're talking about what's going on with the market right now, as the election unfolds, that's going to obviously create volatility. The big things that people are waiting for is the stimulus package. Once somebody's in office, whoever it is, they're going to get the stimulus passed. That's going to be a boost for the market. Additionally, Fed policy. The Federal Reserve is kind of sitting back in their thrones, looking down at all this happening, and they're trying to figure out what they can say in their next speech or what policy move they can make that's going to actually keep the economy going. Because this whole rise in the number of cases in the virus is causing both a real and psychological challenges for the economy, right? The real challenge is the overwhelming of hospitals. The number of deaths, to be honest with you, is not significant enough to rattle the whole country. 99.9% of you will not die from the virus. 99.9% of you will survive, right? But the other part of the real impact, though, is that hospitals can't handle that many new patients, right? So that's a real thing. But then the psychological impact is, if there are shutdowns, well, that has a real impact on the economy. Also, if fear causes consumers to be afraid to go shopping around the Christmas holidays, or fear keeps people from just living their lives and going to work, or or fear keeps companies from being able to open, so people can't get jobs. Well, that's going to all impact the economy. So everyone's kind of afraid of what that second wave is going to look like, which is why we do want to manage the virus, right? You want to social distance, you want to wear your mask. We also have better treatments, right? Two fronts that are really combating the virus effectively are, one, the treatments are getting better. People are dying less from the virus, right? It used to be, the death rate used to be higher than what it is now. But then also, the vaccine is on its way. When the vaccine comes out, that will not only keep people physically safer for those who want to take it. Personally, I don't plan to take it, to be honest with you. But if I were 80 years old, I would probably take it, right? But then again, though, you never know. Maybe the vaccine will kill an age. I have no idea. Y'all can judge on that. I'm not telling you what to do, but I am going to say that the impact of the vaccine will be more psychological than anything else, because then people will feel safe and they'll start going back to business and going back to work. Life will be the same again. All these things are probably going to happen. I can't imagine a scenario where they don't happen, which means that the worst thing, in my opinion, that's going to occur is that your paycheck is going to be delayed. So if you're owning stock and you're waiting for your stocks to take off, sure, you got a bonus today. That could easily go away. So don't hold your breath. Like, don't assume that because it's good today, it's going to stay good. But I think long term, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you're going to be in a better position than you are right now. So keep hustling, keep being smart. Don't be scared, and you're going to be fine. Okay, guys, so do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Also, a reminder, if you want to get text notifications from me, you can text the word voice to 31996. Text voice to 31996. And if you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, it's totally free. I do not want to sell this book. Hundreds of thousands of people have read this book. I want it to be read by millions of people. I'd love for your children to read it. You can go to allblackeconomics.com. That's allblackeconomics.com. You'll also get lots of free stuff from the Black Business School. We love to, be there for you in any way that we possibly can. So thank you for listening. I appreciate your time. I hope you guys have a great day, and I love you. See you later. Peace.